I think I have a lot of positives to take away. Of course, the atmosphere in each tournament has been amazing, and it's
I want to
been
say thank you to
The hoax
all
that broke the
the
internet,
incredible
how
women
the
who
entire
have
world
paved the
got
way
played,
and
why
who have
tennis legends are
advocated for
furious,
themselves
and
and
why
for other
Alex Eala
women.
is already winning
Among them
without
is
saying a single
Coco.
word. Hold on to everything you've got, Court Vision Plus family, because what we are about to walk you through today is not just a sports story. It is not just a tennis story. It is not even just a celebrity drama story. What happened over the past several weeks involving 20-year-old Filipino tennis sensation Alex Eala, the daytime television machine, and the most rabidly engaged corner of the sports internet is one of the most jaw-dropping, mind-bending, and frankly hilarious episodes in the history of viral sports media. And we are going to break every single layer of it down for you right here, right now, in full Court Vision Plus style, because nobody covers the real story behind the story like we do. Let's start at the very beginning, because if you came to this video after seeing your feed absolutely explode with headlines screaming about Whoopi Goldberg ambushing Alex Eala on live television, about Novak Djokovic and Carlos Alcaraz declaring war on ABC, about a $50 million defamation lawsuit rocking the foundations of one of America's most iconic broadcasting networks, about sponsors pulling their money and executives losing their minds in emergency boardrooms, if you saw any of that and thought, wait, did this actually happen? Then you are in exactly the right place. Because the answer is no. None of it happened. Not a single frame of it. And the story of how that non-event became one of the most viral sports narratives on the entire internet in the span of about 72 hours is a masterclass in how the digital age manufactures drama, manipulates emotion, and weaponizes the genuine love that a global fan base has for a young athlete who has done absolutely nothing wrong. But here's the twist that nobody saw coming. Here's the thing that makes this story so rich and so worth your time. The hoax, the lie, the complete and total fabrication that was built around Alex Eala's name actually revealed something extraordinarily real. It revealed just how enormous her global footprint has become. It revealed just how fiercely the tennis world, the Filipino community, and sports fans across every continent are prepared to defend her. And it revealed, perhaps more powerfully than any highlight reel or match result ever could, that this 20-year-old woman from Manila, the first Filipino to win a Grand Slam junior title, the player who fought her way onto the WTA circuit while the whole world was watching, has become something that no algorithm can manufacture and no clickbait factory can fake. She has become a cultural phenomenon. And the internet's desperate attempt to drag her into a fake controversy only made her shine brighter. So let's get into it. Let's talk about who Alex Eala actually is, what the real story of her career looks like, how this insane hoax spread across social media like wildfire, why fact-checkers are now having a field day, and what this entire episode tells us about the future of sports media, fan culture, and the responsibility that comes with platforms like this one. Alexandra Eala. If you are new to tennis, if you are new to following the WTA, or if you somehow stumbled onto this channel without knowing her name yet, let us fix that right now.
Hello, Filipinas. My message is just to dream big. It's important na maging ambitious kayo and don't put a limit on yourself.
Alex Eala is 20 years old. She is Filipino. She trained at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca, Spain, which tells you immediately that she is operating at a different level than your average junior prospect. When Rafael Nadal's own academy looks at a player and decides to invest in developing her, that is not a small endorsement. That is the tennis world saying, watch this person, because something extraordinary is coming. And extraordinary is exactly what came. In 2020, the first in the entire history of Filipino tennis. In a country with over 100 million people and a sports culture that burns as hot as anywhere on earth, no one had ever climbed to that peak before. She was 18 years old. She did it on the clay courts of Roland Garros, one of the most storied and demanding venues in all of professional sports, against opponents who had been groomed for that exact stage. And she won. Cleanly. Brilliantly. With the kind of composure that players twice her age struggle to find. From there, her trajectory into the professional ranks has been exactly what you would expect from a player with her pedigree and mental makeup, which is to say, it has been hard, grinding, sometimes frustrating, and absolutely relentless. The step up from junior Grand Slam champion to established WTA Tour professional is one of the most brutal transitions in all of sport. The margins at the top of women's professional tennis are so razor-thin that even the most gifted junior players routinely struggle to find their footing in that environment. Eala has navigated that transition with a maturity and a work ethic that has drawn admiration from coaches, fellow players, and analysts across the sport. She has competed across WTA and ITF events, building her ranking, developing her game, adding weapons to her already impressive arsenal. Her forehand is a genuine weapon. Her movement is excellent. Her mental resilience, the ability to stay present and composed in high-pressure moments, is the thing that separates good players from great ones, and she has demonstrated it consistently. By early 2025, she had broken into the top 150 of the WTA rankings, a genuinely significant milestone for a player of her age who had been making the transition from the junior circuit. And the tennis world was paying attention. Not just the Filipino tennis world. The entire global tennis community was tracking her progress, watching her results, anticipating the moment when the potential she had always shown would fully crystallize into the kind of sustained top-level performance that defines a career. That is the real Alex Eala. That is the actual story. A young woman quietly and consistently doing the brutally hard work of becoming one of the best tennis players on the planet. So naturally, the internet decided she needed a fake television scandal. Here is how the hoax developed, based on what researchers and fact-checkers have been able to piece together. It began, as so many of these things do, with a handful of YouTube channels operating in what you might charitably call the engagement farming space. These are channels, and there are thousands of them, scattered across every platform, whose entire business model is built around manufacturing drama that does not exist. They are not news channels. They are not sports analysis channels. They are not even entertainment channels in any meaningful creative sense. They are factories. They identify a name that is trending, a name with an emotionally engaged fan base, and they construct a fictional narrative around that name that is specifically engineered to trigger outrage, protective instincts, and the desperate urge to share. The formula is almost insultingly simple. You take a beloved figure, in this case, Alex Eala. You take a controversial figure or institution, in this case, The View and Whoopi Goldberg. You construct a scenario in which the controversial figure attacks or disrespects the beloved figure. Then you dress it up with AI-generated thumbnails showing dramatic facial expressions. You write a title in all capital letters with phrases like obliterated or destroyed or left speechless, and you publish it with absolutely no factual basis whatsoever. The algorithm does the rest. The emotionally charged title gets clicks. The clicks generate watch time. The watch time generates revenue. And the fact that nothing in the video actually happened is completely irrelevant to the financial model. In the case of the Eala hoax, the fictional narrative that spread claimed that Alex Eala had appeared as a guest on The View, ABC's flagship daytime talk show, and that during the appearance, she had been subjected to some form of ambush or disrespectful treatment by Whoopi Goldberg and the show's producers. The specific details varied from channel to channel. This is another hallmark of engagement farming. The story mutates as it spreads because nobody is actually working from a real source, but the emotional core was consistent. Young Filipina tennis star, just trying to share her story, gets attacked by powerful daytime television personalities. The narrative was constructed to light up every protective instinct in the fan base.
Got into tennis because of my brother. He's 3 years older and he started playing tennis. And so when it came time for me to...
And then the story grew legs, because that is what fabricated outrage stories do on the internet. The initial fake claim spawned secondary fake claims. Suddenly there were videos claiming that Djokovic had publicly condemned ABC. Then videos claiming that Alcaraz had joined the boycott. Then claims of a $50 million defamation lawsuit. Then claims of sponsor withdrawals and boardroom crises and network executives in panic mode. Each new fake detail was published by a different channel, each one citing the previous fake detail as its source, creating a completely fictional paper trail that looked, to a casual viewer scrolling quickly through their feed, like a developing news story with multiple points of confirmation. This is what researchers who study viral misinformation call a citation loop. Nobody goes back to the original source, which does not exist, because the momentum of the story feels like its own verification. If 20 different channels are reporting that Djokovic boycotted ABC, the average viewer assumes that at least one of those channels must have a real source. And in the hyper-accelerated scroll culture of social media, almost nobody actually stops to check. The result was that within about 72 hours, the search terms around Alex Eala, The View, Whoopi Goldberg, ABC, and Djokovic were all spiking simultaneously. Millions of views were generated across hundreds of videos. Comment sections were flooded with outraged fans defending Eala, condemning The View, calling for boycotts of ABC sponsors, and sharing their solidarity with a young athlete who, in reality, had been sitting somewhere completely unbothered, possibly hitting tennis balls and preparing for her next match, with absolutely no idea that the internet had decided she was at the center of a daytime television war. Meanwhile, back in the actual world, fact-checkers had a field day. Multiple independent verification organizations and sports journalists who cover both tennis and media began publishing debunking pieces almost as fast as the fake stories were spreading. The conclusions were unanimous and unambiguous. Alex Eala was never a guest on The View. There was no confrontation with Whoopi Goldberg. There was no boycott by Djokovic or Alcaraz. There was no lawsuit. There was no sponsor blackout. There was no emergency at ABC. The entire narrative, from the first fake thumbnail to the last fabricated headline, was a complete invention. A ghost story told by channels chasing algorithm dollars at the expense of a real person's name and reputation. The cost of that decision is borne entirely by the people whose names and reputations are used as raw material for the narrative. Alex Eala did not consent to becoming the subject of a viral fake scandal. She had no opportunity to respond to allegations that were being spread about events that never happened. Her name was attached to a fake story that reached millions of people, many of whom will never see the debunking, never encounter a fact check, and will simply carry a vague memory of some drama involving her and a television show without any idea that the drama was entirely invented. That is a real cost. That is real reputational exposure, even for someone who did absolutely nothing wrong. The sports media community, and that includes channels like this one, has a responsibility to push back against that model.
Ooh, I think this is just a whole nother category. I think, playing with the country written on your back is, and these sort of team events just bring a different...
Not with moralizing. Not with lectures. But with the simple, powerful tool of telling the truth well. Because here is the thing, the truth about Alex Eala is more compelling than any fake scandal could ever be. The real story, a 20-year-old from Manila who trained at Nadal's academy, became the first Filipino Grand Slam champion, and is now grinding her way up the professional ranks with the talent and composure of a future top 10 player. That story has everything. Drama, struggle, triumph, national pride, and the kind of genuine stakes that no fictional narrative can match. You do not need to manufacture a confrontation with a daytime talk show to make Alex Eala's story worth watching. You just need to pay attention to what she is actually doing, because what she is actually doing is extraordinary. And what she is actually doing right now, as we speak, as these fake stories pile up around her name without her permission, is continuing to compete. Continuing to train. Continuing to build toward the kind of career that Grand Slam junior champions build when they are as serious and as dedicated as she demonstrably is. She has been competing on the WTA circuit, accumulating ranking points, developing her professional game, and doing the unglamorous but absolutely essential work of becoming a fully formed professional tennis player. There have been wins that have generated real excitement. There have been matches where her forehand has looked every bit as dangerous as the most optimistic projections suggested it would. There have been moments where her mental composure, the ability to stay locked in when a match gets tight, to convert the big points, to impose her game plan even when an opponent is making it difficult, has looked like the calling card of someone who is going to be a problem for a lot of WTA players in the very near future. And there have been tough matches too, losses that come with the territory when you are a young player competing against experienced professionals who have been navigating the tour for years. Those losses are part of the story too. They are part of the process. The real Court Vision Plus audience, the audience that comes to this channel because they want substantive sports coverage, because they want to understand what is actually happening in tennis and why it matters. That audience does not need a fake scandal to stay interested in Alex Eala. They need exactly what we are giving them right now. Context. Analysis. The real story, told with the energy and the passion that it deserves. Here is the broader lesson that this entire episode offers for anyone who consumes sports media in the digital age, and it is a lesson worth writing down. When you see a headline that triggers an intense emotional response, outrage, shock, the urge to immediately share, take a breath before you click. Ask yourself one question: where is this coming from? If the channel publishing the story has no track record of real reporting, if the thumbnail shows AI-generated dramatic facial expressions, if the title is all capital letters with phrases like destroyed or claps back or loses everything, those are red flags. They do not prove the story is fake, but they are signals that warrant a moment of skepticism before you feed the algorithm another click. The channels that manufacture these stories are not going away. The economic incentives that drive them are too powerful, and the platforms that host them are too profitable to fully suppress them. But individual viewers can make choices about what they reward with their attention. And sports fans, specifically, have a particular opportunity to push back, because sports fans know their subjects. They follow these athletes. They watch the matches. They know the real story. And when a fake narrative appears that contradicts what they actually know, they are in a position to call it out with authority. The Filipino tennis community, to their enormous credit, did exactly that with the Eala hoax. While millions of views were generated on the fake content, there were also millions of comments and responses from people who knew the story was wrong, who pushed back, who shared the fact checks, who refused to let the narrative settle without challenge. That kind of informed, engaged, critically thinking fanbase is the best defense the sports world has against the engagement farming machine. And Alex Eala is lucky to have them. Though, frankly, they are lucky to have her too. Because at the end of all of this, at the end of the fake headlines and the fictional boycotts and the manufactured drama, what we are left with is the real thing. A 20-year-old tennis player from the Philippines who is writing history in real time, one match at a time, one ranking point at a time, one barrier broken at a time. The hoax tried to hijack her name. Instead, it served as an inadvertent advertisement for how much the world cares about her actual journey. The internet tried to manufacture her moment. But Alex Eala's real moments are already extraordinary enough to need no manufacturing at all. She is going to win more matches. She is going to climb higher in the rankings. She is going to stand on more important courts, in more important moments, under more important pressure. And when those moments come, when the real story delivers the kind of headline that no fake thumbnail could ever match, Court Vision Plus is going to be right here to bring it to you straight, with the analysis and the passion that a story this good deserves. That is what we do. That is who we are. And that is why, if you have not already subscribed to this channel, right now is the perfect moment to change that. If you made it this far in this video, you are exactly the kind of viewer that makes this community worth building. You care about the real story. You want more than clickbait. You came here for substance. So let us make it official. Hit that subscribe button right now and join the Court Vision Plus family. This is a channel that covers tennis the right way, with depth, with honesty, with passion, and with absolutely zero tolerance for the kind of fake drama that the internet tried to build around Alex Eala's name this week. Hit the like button on this video if you appreciate the fact-based breakdown. Drop a comment below and tell us, did this hoax appear in your feed? Did you see any of the fake headlines? And what do you think the tennis world needs to do to protect young athletes like Eala from having their names used as raw material by engagement farming channels? We read every comment. We take every perspective seriously. And your voice helps shape the direction of this channel. Share this video with your fellow tennis fans, because the best way to fight back against misinformation is to replace it with real, well-researched, compelling content that people actually want to watch. Be the algorithm fix. Send this to someone who might have seen the fake story and help them get the real one instead. Court Vision Plus, where the real court drama lives. We will see you in the next one.